Receiving an autoimmune disease diagnosis is frightening, overwhelming, and life-changing. LaTonya Bias, PhD, experienced these emotions when she was first diagnosed with lupus over 20 years ago. Although lupus chose her, she has learned to adapt to lupus while living her life to the fullest. A variety of professionals will join LaTonya to discuss ways for you to love your life with lupus. Join LaTonya as she guides you on your journey through life with autoimmune disease.
Well, welcome, and thank you for joining. We are so excited to bring you the season finale of 2021 Lupus It Chose Me podcast. If you are new, my name is LaTonya Bias, and I am the CEO and founder of the Love Life Lupus Foundation, an author of Lupus It Chose Me, and the creator of L3 Intimate Contrived Hair Care line. I would like for you to take a moment of your time to view past episodes to get caught up right now. We have so many prestigious guest speakers, inspirational healthcare professionals, lupus warriors. I would like to thank all of our special guests and two phenomenal women. One, Miss Gina Hill, my co-host, my superstar, and to Miss Tamika, who both believed in the cause and worked very hard to set the foundation so the awareness can be heard. To my friends and family members that worked in the background to help make this year's podcast a success, and to you all for listening, for being a part of our informational conversations. Now today, I would like to walk you through our 25 greatest topics that are very crucial aspects in your life or someone that may have an autoimmune disease. So for this segment, we will view a few topics, some challenges living with lupus, the difficulties of finding information, coping, stress, and much more. So what I want you to do is sit back, enjoy, and I will see you after this segment.
When I received the lupus diagnosis, it was what?
Because I was so healthy up until that point, like I literally took birth control pill and one allergy med. And I went from that to like 36 pills at my worst. So at the time of diagnosis, I was just like, let's move on. I really didn't have time to think about what the lupus was. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people are like that.
And it took me a long time to even try to go back to work because I was afraid. It's embarrassing. It was embarrassing. It was embarrassing.
Scary. I guess because I knew something was wrong, but not knowing what it was. And then hearing the doctor say lupus, even though I spent 15 years in the medical field, I've heard of lupus, but I didn't really know the ins and outs. So I'm just sitting here like, okay, like now what? And then it's like, oh, and by the way, there's no cure. And so then it's like, you feel like it's a death sentence. Like, what is this that I have?
And I went to research to find out what it was because they couldn't give me answers. But as I researched, I found that people were dying. So the first thing I was like, oh, Lord, I'm about to die. What do you know now that you wish you knew when you was first diagnosed?
I wish I knew how lupus attacks the body. Because, like I said, I didn't know anything. And, it's just one of those things where all the side effects of drugs and all these medications we take, I mean, you read them on the back of the bottles, but you're like, oh, that's not going to be me. And I've had some of those side effects. And it's weird. I was talking to my doctor about this, that, steroids is like one of our drugs of choice. And when I was hospitalized, I got put on 1,000 milligram pulses. I put 50 pounds on in 1 month, but she got me off of steroids probably like in 2014. And then about 6 years later, I started having issues. Like my blood pressure was high. And, I have high blood pressure in my family, but, I went to a cardiologist and, we did the regular workup, doing the stress test and everything. And come to find out, my carotid arteries are 50% blocked. And I'm like, wait a minute, how are they 50% blocked? Because both my parents do have high cholesterol. So I've been really diligent, like trying not to eat the fried foods. And, them fried foods are good. I've been trying to do really good, and exercise and all that, so I won't have to go that route. And the doctor basically said at that time, for a 45-year-old, I had more sludge in my pipes because of the previous steroid use. So I wish somebody had, talked to me about, about these drugs and how steroids really affect us, and also female health. Like, I didn't realize taking certain medications, how it would hinder me in regards to being a mother. And I wish that was something I knew back then.
What is your greatest challenge having lupus?
Getting people to really understand what lupus is. A lot of people are just like, oh, well, pray that you feel better. Like, in reality, we're really not like better. Like, we pretty much on a daily basis have to fake it. Fake being okay when we're not okay. So I feel like that's always a challenge. And me saying no is really a challenge because I know the consequences of pushing myself too much. So I feel like that really is a challenge. And just people to understand what we go through is more than just joint pain, is more than just, when you say, you have severe fatigue, a lot of people don't get that. They're just like, oh, we'll go take a nap. Like, and that's not, it's not that simple.
When you were in the military, what was your greatest challenge during your active duty with lupus?
Whew. My greatest challenge with it, I would say just the day to day, because with lupus being so invisible, really no one knew. I mean, like my immediate boss knew, and like I said, a handful of friends, but really no one knew. So I kind of walked around with a mask on per se, even though like, especially like during my deployment, I didn't, like I said, I didn't know the implications from lupus. And being in that stressful environment, I lived and worked on the second floor. So as time went on, just the movement, and I got diagnosed with fibromyalgia. So my joints were always stiff and they were red, but I didn't know what that was. All I thought was, maybe I'm pushing it too much. So I would say probably the biggest challenge is just wearing that mask.
Dealing with that daily, for me, it's hard to even explain to my children, or at one point it was very hard to explain to them, I don't feel good. And even when you try to explain it, it seems like it went in one ear and out the other. So you just, okay, I just don't feel good. Give me a minute, or some time. Or then my children, speaking for myself, see me 90% of the time in bed and could not understand, why is mom in bed all the time? I want to know, did you have to hide the fact that you were living with lupus when you were serving our country?
I wouldn't say the word hide. It was just, because the thing is, every little thing can affect your career. And at this time, I had spent so many years in the Army. I started off enlisted. I decided to want to stay in. I became an officer, and little things could take you out. And especially being a Black female in a military that's predominantly white men. And throughout my career, I've been in career fields where there was only one of me in that branch or in that unit. So it wasn't like I was running around shouting on top of the roofs like, hey, I got lupus. It wasn't any of that. I mean, nowadays I'm like, I got lupus. Let me talk about it. I want to educate. And I would say at the end of my career, it was more about the education. And, I got with the Lupus Foundation of America in Texas, and actually, started meeting people, because that's the thing. I didn't know anybody in the military that had lupus.
I hid it. I hid all of it. I tried to be still and quiet. The librarian pulled me to the side and said, honey, don't tell anybody that you have lupus because they'll think you're crazy.
Are you kidding?
You have to know that before then, they institutionalized people with lupus.
When they ask you about your history, I refused to kind of tell them what was really going on with me because I didn't want them to try to claim my past, so I wouldn't say much. When you were first diagnosed, was that something difficult? Were you able to find information quickly?
I did find information where I was stationed at. There was not like a support group close by. It was because I was stationed in Fort Campbell, Kentucky, and they had a support group in Nashville. And at the time, the meeting was during the week, and I worked Monday through Friday, and the distance to get there, and it was at lunchtime, so it just wasn't feasible. So basically, I kind of relied on, just doing things offline, like just surfing the web. But I mean, nowadays, virtual support groups are everywhere, and different organizations. So it makes it a lot easier for somebody newly diagnosed.
I was in the hospital. Now I'm talking about in 1980.
Mm-hmm.
And the lady told me they thought I had lupus.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the hospital's library to see what that was.
I didn't get any paperwork. I didn't get any literature. And I was just like, but I worked in neurosurgery at the time. I didn't work in rheumatology. So it was scary because I didn't know how to explain it to my now husband. So I'm Googling, I'm trying to find YouTube videos, like, what do I need to do? What do I need to expect? So
I went through somewhat the same because mine was so long ago. So I I tried to Google, but they didn't have enough information.
Yeah.
Another foundation who's really large, I reached out to them and I found I wasn't getting no answers, going through doctor after doctor after doctor. It's like, are you kidding me? Somebody.
How do you deal on a daily basis? How do you cope with lupus on a daily basis?
Just breathing techniques, relying on 1 Peter 5:7, casting all my anxieties on him.
Just persevere. Just hang in there, not giving up. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to let lupus control me.
Absolutely.
That's just the way it is for me.
I have to learn to say no. And I even schedule my naps that I don't get overwhelmed in doing too much.
Well, back then, I have to say I was definitely in denial. And all of a sudden, boom, this happened. And I was just kind of like, give me a pill and let's just get rid of this thing.
What's your super strength? If you had, to put on your superwoman cape with the big S on your chest and say, my super strength is, what would that be?
I would say remaining positive in light of lupus and continuing to smile and help others. You know what? It's here. You have your good days and your bad days, but you know what? You got to relish in those good ones, and those bad ones, you just chalk them up. So my superpower is to stay positive in light of lupus.
I think if you had to have a super strength, it would just be, just, I guess, the endurance and the serving. Like, I love to serve others. So I feel like even though I know it's a challenge with my health, it brings me joy to know that I can help someone else despite of what I'm going through.
Miss Emily, what's your super strength?
Determination. Survival. When I'm backed up in the corner, when things are not going like I would like them to go.
Absolutely.
I come out like a tiger.
When you have that energy to go, you just go, and you take advantage of every moment that you possibly can. So 1 minute when I'm down and I can't do nothing, that's the depressing mode. But once I get a snippet of feeling really good, I'm dancing and enjoying, I become superwoman. What advancements in research are you most optimistic about?
Oh my goodness, there's just so many, but to narrow it down, um, I've had the fortunate honor to serve as a consumer reviewer on the peer review panel for the lupus research program for the Department of Defense. And here we are years later. I had this opportunity, and it's great because you get to see high risk, high payoff research that's not being done anywhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So it was great to be able to sit on these panels with MDs and PhDs and to review these grants. And it's great to see that there is so much research going on that the lupus warrior might not see it, but you're thinking, man, I got this CNS lupus, or maybe, they have more issues with their joints or more discoid. But there's people out there doing research behind the scenes that we don't know about, that they want to find a cure. They want to find better and safer treatments.
What matters most to you in life? We have lupus,
Mm-hmm.
and there's so many important things. I know when I was diagnosed, all of a sudden things mattered.
Mm-hmm.
So to you, tell me, what matters to you?
So I feel like what matters most in my life right now is just not taking life for granted, because I feel like we can easily do that. And so that is, one of the most important things. And just family, going through the pandemic, you really learn to love your loved ones because tomorrow isn't promised. So
Absolutely.
What really matters is my joy and my peace.
Mm-hmm.
I would say for a while, lupus stole that from me, when I lost my career, my marriage. And now, people always see me, they're like, you're always smiling. You have lupus. You have a death sentence. And I'm like, you know what? You could live with lupus. I just don't let lupus steal my joy. So my joy and my peace.
When it comes to eating and sleeping and stress-free. So right now, those are the two that are most important. Of course, family comes third, but those are the most two important right now.
Okay. Miss Emily?
Of course, God,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yes.
my two kids, Dwayne and Tammy.
Mm-hmm.
At one time during my illness, my sister was going to she said, I'll just keep your kids
Mm-hmm.
and you go on to the hospital. You're going to kill me if you take my kids. So
One word to encourage our listeners today.
Can I do expression? I would say Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through him that strengthens me.
yes.
How about you, Miss Emily?
Yes. I would concur to that, but I would just say, God is my strength.
Mm-hmm.
And he will bring you through.
Yeah.
He will bring you through. If you believe, he will bring you through.
You shall.
So let's keep hope. It's not the end. We're not going to accept that.
Strength.
Yes. Strength. Be strong.
One word.
Mm-hmm.
Fight.
That's
I
right. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it. All right. Did you enjoy that information as much as I did? It was great. Next, I want to talk with you about a few of my personal professional involvements that relates to living a healthy life without medication, some topics like IV therapy, the difference between naturopathic and holistic, a few basic regimens, the stages of grief, and a great self-care plan. So tune in.
What exactly is IV therapy, and why has it become so popular?
So most people are used to seeing or hearing about IVs only in a hospital setting on a reactive basis because they had to go to the ER or they're in the hospital for something going on with them. So we're more on the preventative side of health and wellness, where hydration and nourishment, everyone is always in some kind of dehydration, malnourishment state. They're also in, which is a great for our topic today, they're also always in some kind of inflammation state.
Yes. Having an autoimmune disease, inflammation along with pain is one of our two most vital. So to have this is very important. Which one of your IV therapies is the most popular one?
I would say the one you're taking now, Tonya, is the Health and Wellness with glutathione.
Okay.
We do the glutathione at the end because it actually fights with, it's a bully molecule, so it fights with all the nutrients that are in the bag, so we can't put it in the beginning. So as you saw, Austin kind of snuck in there and administered that specific 400 milligram dose of glutathione, which is a form of 3 different amino acids. So this is a 1 liter bag. This is a lactated ringer, which starts out as a base of electrolytes, and then we add an electrolytes, right? Kind of like the Gatorade of intravenous, so it's going actually into the vein as opposed to drinking it, of the electrolytes, such as magnesium, sodium, all the base things that people need to rehydrate. As she comes up to the end of this bag, she'll be getting glutathione, which is the body's master antioxidant.
Are the people who administer, like Austin, the therapies certified medical professionals, and is it safe for everyone?
So everyone that administers the IVs, typically in this nutritional setting for hydration therapy, for any type of IV that you're getting outside of the hospital, has to be administered by a medical professional. So typically, I myself am a registered nurse, with the state of Texas. So, as in regards to your question about it being safe, we follow the same protocol that I would follow in the hospital. So we just ensure everyone's safety, make sure all types of IVs are administered safely.
The inflammation is what keeps the nutrients from being absorbed across the blood-brain barrier wall in the stomach. So you're having an issue when you actually take an oral supplement. If there's excessive inflammation, it's going to even have that much harder of a time being absorbed. Traditionally, statistically, it's you're only going to get 20% absorption at best.
Right.
For anything that you take oral, IV therapy would be the next best thing as far as nourishment, but also from a hydration standpoint, because nobody drinks enough water, and we see that every day in our clinics.
Can you dive in a little bit more about some of those?
So the IV that you just received is the Health and Wellness with glutathione. And one of the other key IVs that we definitely want to talk about today is the MSM.
Yes.
Dietary sulfur is what it's called. And that is a key component to our IVs, especially for any kind of inflammation state. So natural anti-inflammatory, good for allergies, any type of issue that's going on when it comes to inflammation. MSM is a great go-to. It's one of the few substances that we can actually use in the IV world intravenously as opposed to taking oral that is not done very often in IV clinics. When an immune system is compromised, when you've been drinking, guess what? It's been compromised. Why? Because the alcohol kills vitamins in the bloodstream.
Yes.
So that's her version of a flare-up. myvitology.com.
Got it. Okay.
And that's going to be launching August the 1st. And we work with labs nationwide. We have about 3,500 that are in our system. And anyone can go starting August the 1st to myvitology.com. They can order just a wellness panel.
Okay.
And that might just be pulling simple blood work. They can go in, order that, less expensive than most. So it's a great affordable way to pay for it yourself, especially people have high deductibles insurance and they have to pay for things out of pocket, or they don't have insurance. They can go right on to myvitology.com, order a lab panel, go right into the lab that same day without an appointment, and then the results come to their phone the next day.
Nice.
What's the difference between an herbalist and, let's say, a naturopathic doctor? What's the difference between the two?
Okay, so a naturopathic doctor actually goes to an accredited college. You know, they go through this system. They can actually, and they study homeopathic and nutrition. Okay, so they can order labs and tests and x-rays. They can write prescriptions. So an herbalist is just someone, an expert who studies plants and herbs to heal the body from an overall wellness standpoint. If you look back from the first person here, we've always healed from the land, from the earth, from nature. And when you look at scriptures, Revelations 22:2, it says the herbs are for the healing of the nation.
What would be a basic regimen for someone with an autoimmune disease?
For every chronic issue out there, we always have to start with changing our diet and the basics. The basics are supplements that everybody should be taking. The basics going to be number one, a probiotic. Okay, we have to put the good bacteria back in the gut. The next thing is going to be a D3, K2, and magnesium. So we know vitamin D3 is a hormone that our body makes naturally. We get it from the sun.
Right.
But because of the melanin in people of color, copper colored people's skin, we don't absorb it. And whenever you take a D, it's very important that you take a vitamin K2 and also magnesium. K2 will help the D3 absorb where it's supposed to go. And it also addresses and help the calcium that's already inside of our body absorb where it's supposed to go. Because 99% of calcium is already found in our bones and in our teeth. So we don't need to take extra calcium supplements ever. I mean, that would be dangerous. We just need the K2 to tell the calcium where to go. And then magnesium is found in over 300 enzymes in our entire body that's linked to every cell, every tissue, every muscle. So this combination is super, super important, not just for lupus, but being deficient in D3 alone can lead to over 17 different types of cancers, heart disease, diabetes, hypertension, gout, Alzheimer's, dementia, just a list of things that you cannot even imagine. B complex. We know that B complex and vitamin C, both of those are water soluble, meaning they leave our body every single day. So it's really critical that we must replenish the B complex and the vitamin C on a daily basis. And the B vitamins are so important because they help the body produce red blood cells. They help our DNA. It helps with our eyesight, our brain. It helps with our hormones. It helps with so much that we cannot even imagine. Also, colostrum supplements. You know, you can buy colostrum over the counter. This is something too that's important that people with lupus should take because this is going to help reset that immune system. Okay, and then garlic. Okay, garlic is to keep the immune system boosted and keep it strong. We have ginger and turmeric because we know that inflammation is the root cause of majority of all chronic issues. And the way to address inflammation naturally is taking ginger or turmeric. Nitric oxide. This is one that I have recently come across. Nitric oxide is what they would give babies when they're born in a NIC unit and they're blue because their lungs are not fully developed. They will let babies inhale nitric oxide and the babies turn pink immediately. So nitric oxide is very, very important and it keeps us alive. When we close our mouth and we inhale, we're inhaling nitric oxide through the body. So this is so important. It helps with so many chronic illnesses: diabetes, hypertension, cancer, arthritis, heart issues, circulation. Yeah, nitric oxide is amazing. From the top: probiotic, D3, K2, magnesium, B complex, vitamin C, colostrum, ginger, turmeric, garlic, MSM, and nitric oxide.
at what point did you recognize that, okay, I can't keep denying this, I need to seek medical treatment?
It was years. I ended up in my acceptance phase before say, okay, I need to seek medical treatment, or because in the denial phase, I didn't. I skipped doctor appointments. I didn't want to open up the curtains, in the house. Anger started to build. To be angry was the worst thing anyone with an autoimmune disease can have, because it triggers so many different things in your body. Those were my bargaining tactics every morning. Thank you, Father, for waking me up. I still do that today. That's not bargaining, though. It's just being grateful, my gratitude to him. But back then, it was bargaining. Oh, Lord, thank you.
Closed curtain days, because usually she would have it open. She would want to see the yard. She would want to see the grass. She would want to see if the dog was out there playing, if the sprinklers came on. And I do recall a time it's like, don't open those. No, don't open it. So, and didn't think of it as depression, just thought of it as following, okay, well, she don't want them open. Like you're kind of catering to her needs, when really we were catering to that state of depression.
My phases, absolutely.
Right.
As a family, it really made us have to pay more attention to her body language, tone, and a lot of things, because now I can kind of look and say, and ask that question instead of just giving the assumption, are you okay? How are you feeling? Does your head hurt? So now I can kind of look at her and tell that, even if she says, oh, no, I'm good. No, I can tell.
I can tell that you're not good.
I found after counseling, and still lots and lots of counseling and helping the family understand, is acceptance. You don't define who you are by the words lupus. You don't define who you are because you're in pain. I've learned that my issue is not your issue. So I have to accept what I have. And until you can accept it, nobody else will be able to accept it.
You started the foundation, the Love Life Lupus Foundation, and of course, this podcast. Was part of your motivation for starting those organizations because you had no one to talk to?
Yes. I need the right vitamins and minerals to put in my hair, on my scalp. Having 15 medications to take it triggered me to, okay, I need one multivitamin that's a natural multivitamin that I can take. So I created a vitamin line, writing a book to tell my story, creating a foundation to bring awareness. But those were the starting points of seeing the lack of information and products and services and resources that we do not have in our community. We just don't have it.
You have, over the course of this journey, put in a lot of work to be where you are today.
I created a concept for myself, which is called the self-care plan. And part of that was making sure, like I stated, one, to communicate with my family and friends, just talking to them on how I feel, and then dealing with my emotions. When I wake up in the morning and I know that I have pain that's out of the norm, so I have to deal with my emotions and not trigger them on my family. My mindset has to be changed, because if I trigger that to you, Gina, guess what? It's gonna piggyback, and I don't want your day to be ruined because of my day is being ruined because of how I feel. So that was another one. I realized that my environment played a major part in my everyday state. Going to the refrigerator looking for sugar was not the option. I had to buy purifiers. I needed to make sure that I had chemical-free items in my home so that I wouldn't have any reason for a reaction to take place. Using wipes, the way you change on cleaning yourself and washing your hands. Instead of just washing your hands, clean them up to your elbows, using detergent, so a whole lot when it came to the environment. So then physical. So I know I can't do a full-blown workout. And I used to hear from a lot of people, hey, girl, come on, all you got to do is work out. You can lose that tummy. And it's like, your workout is not my workout. My hands hurt. So if I try to do a push-up, it's a wrap for me. I needed to do something, but not try to match what everybody do every single day. So my physical exercise consists of just walking. If I could walk 20 minutes a day, take the dog out, just walk. And then spiritually getting up, if it's just 15, 30 minutes, or even just thanking whoever your higher power is, mine is the Lord, for waking me up in the morning, waking me up and being grateful and having gratitude. And then on financial, making sure I don't overdo it. I don't necessarily need to go and buy this or, just because it did get to a point when I was in a depression mode, my out was shopping. I felt better when I got a new outfit, but not realizing that outfit didn't change the pain I was still going through. And then my community, I had to change. This is my last one. I had to change who I had in my so-called circle, my community. I realized I needed to be with people that were uplifting, that was funny, encouraging, loved life. I had to change all of that.
In your book, you say, in the end, it's entirely possible to enjoy life with lupus. All it takes is determination on your part. What are you most determined to do at this point in your life, having accomplished all that you've accomplished?
So my goal is to just bring awareness. If I could just touch one person, just one person, I'm happy. Knowing that every day I wake up, I can spread the word and say, listen, it's okay to love life with lupus. It's okay. Thank you for joining today. This year has been amazing. We look forward to our upcoming exciting and new topics. We will dive into the advancement of research. We are looking forward to spending more time with you as we walk through the life of an autoimmune disease called lupus. I want to leave you with a very important message. Despite our health condition, you are beautiful, divine, intelligent, confident, and resilient. We will not be defined behind what is holding us back. We will be defined as, I am remarkable. So make sure that you tell a friend. Continue to stay close with us by visiting our media sites. Please spread the word. And if you are in the spirit of giving, go to the Love Life Lupus Foundation website and make a generous donation to keep this dream alive. Also, if you are a lupus warrior or want to inspire others by sharing your story, we love to hear from you. So please reach out to the email on the screen below. Have a great new year, and we will see you soon. And remember, love is life, and life is not lupus. TTYL.
You've been listening to the Lupus It Chose Me podcast with LaTonya Bias. LaTonya is a native of Chicago, author, and philanthropist. She has a PhD in business and is the founder and CEO of the Love Life Lupus Foundation. Although she battles lupus every day, LaTonya is committed to creating awareness, sharing knowledge, and funding a cure for this disease. Married for more than 20 years, she has 3 children and 3 grandchildren who light up her life. Until next time, LaTonya wants you to remember you can learn to love your life with lupus. You can learn more about LaTonya and her work by visiting the foundation website at lovelifeLupusFoundation.org. Her book, Lupus It Chose Me, is available at Amazon.com. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Subscribe, share, and listen on Apple Podcasts or wherever you like to stream.
The opinions of the guests are their own and do not represent the opinions of the Lupus It Chose Me podcast. The podcast content is informational only and is not intended to treat, diagnose, or cure. You should consult with your doctor or medical professional before you make any decisions that could adversely affect your health.